But the High Court of Sierra Leone has sentenced a South African woman to 130 years for trafficking cocaine.
By the way, the Durban port used to be the most productive port in Africa. But I can tell you now, the Tanzanian port in Dar es Salaam is the most productive port in Africa.
Then we choose Gonzaga. He has been doing very well. He has made friends. He's representing the school. He's also representing Ireland. He qualified for national match, 1,300 meters boys.
And 2 out of the 42 are criminals. They committed strenuous crime. They took them for the prison. Why, South Africa? Why?
So there is a report that some 42 South Africans have been deported from Ireland back to South Africa. There is something in this particular story that I would like to talk about at the end of the video. And also, it is alleged, or it is reported, a South African that has been arrested in Sierra Leone in possession of some hard substances and has been jailed 130 years. I want us to go into these videos, watch, come back, and let's talk about something.
This operation by the National Immigration Bureau is the latest deportation of those living here illegally who refuse to leave voluntarily. 42 South African nationals were removed on a chartered plane overnight. The Department of Justice says the cost of the return flight is €735,000. That's an average of $17,500 per person deported. This chartered flight left Dublin Airport at 3:30 yesterday afternoon and landed in Johannesburg at 4 a.m. this morning. Among those deported were 9 men, 18 women and 15 children who were all part of family groups. 2 of those on board had committed a crime while here. So far this year, 4 flights have deported 172 people, including 67 EU citizens involved in crime. Last year, 205 people were removed from the country on 6 chartered planes.
We would actually encourage everyone to leave who's given notice that they no longer have a right to remain in the country. And it's important we work with both individuals and with families to point out that in the event of being told that you're not going to be given a permission to remain, that we will first of all voluntarily ask you to leave. Failing that, we will serve you with a deportation notice, and at that point you should leave.
Gardaí medical staff, an interpreter and a human rights observer all travelled to South Africa with those being deported. The Justice Minister says further operations will take place in the coming months. Paul Quinn, Virgin Media News.
We came here for asylum because of the attack on myself and on my children. And then for Dublin to send us back to South Africa is going to cause a huge damage on myself and my children. So we are pleading for the community and the general island to please pardon us and allow us to stay.
When did you first come, TT, to Ireland? When did you move here?
2023 October. I came here with my 3 boys. When we came to Ireland, we settled in completely. I started volunteering and my son, they engage in school and sports and they are doing very well. My second son qualified for scholarship. So 4 scholarship was given to him. Then we choose Gonzaga. He has been doing very well. He has made friends. He's representing the school. He's also representing Ireland. He qualified for national match, 1,300 meters boys.
Okay.
So taking us back is going to cause a huge damage in their mental health.
What was your reaction, TT, when you got this deportation letter?
I nearly collapsed because I lose everything. I was devastated. I don't know what to do. The rugby club,
they're all there to support you.
Everybody stand up. They said, no, you are not going anywhere.
Finbar is part of the De La Salle rugby club. And Finbar, you coach some of the boys, is that right?
Yes, I've got to know them over the last 2 years and I got to know the whole family. They're just lovely kids. They're all respectful, they're polite. They're dedicated to their sport, to their study. Yesterday, when we were lodging the petition in with the Department of Justice, it was great to see the boys there from Gonzaga, the boys there from the rugby club, the boys there from the athletics club, the people there from the church. So, there is a huge community around them who are all trying to help them out at the moment. It's just great to see the community around them over the last couple of weeks step up and try to do anything we can and just try to raise the case in as many places as possible. We'll start a petition on Friday and we'll lodged that with the Department of Justice yesterday, and had over 5,000 names on it. That's a huge achievement over a weekend. It does show the amount of people that got to know this family. It's not just about sport, it's about their schools, it's about their community, again, about their friends.
About the families.
And just how well they have integrated into the community here.
South Africans, why? Why? Why you say another man's country without documents? Why? Ireland has deported 42 South Africans. 42 South Africans today, the 19th of June 2026. They have deported 42 South Africans who don't have documents. 18 are women, 15 are children, and 2 out of the 42 are criminals. They committed strenuous crime. They took them for the prison. Why, South Africa? Why? Why? Why would you go to somebody's country and you refuse to have documents? Why? Now they have deported your people. Now 42 of the people, 2 are criminals, 2 are thieves. Ayo, South Africans.
Do you ever wonder what happened to the Nigerian family that was deported from Ireland and sent back to South Africa, where they'd fled from because the mother claimed their lives were in danger? Well, I have an update. Some quick background. It's a single mother and her 3 children. They left South Africa for Ireland in 2023, seeking asylum, claiming their lives were in danger here in South Africa. But their application for asylum was ultimately rejected. One of the main reasons their application was denied is South Africa is considered to be a safe country by Ireland. Most people coming from South Africa aren't escaping any sort of persecution. It doesn't mean, however, it doesn't automatically mean that asylum seekers are rejected. It just means that the Irish government takes the position that South Africa is a safe country and each case is looked into before they come to a conclusion. The family is alleged to have entered Ireland using fraudulent South African passports. By the way, the extent of immigration fraud in South Africa contributed to Ireland's decision to now start imposing visa restrictions on South African passport holders. Before 2024, you didn't need a visa to enter Ireland, and now you do. Anyway, according to a parliamentary reply to the ATM party, Home Affairs Minister Leone says the family was deported. They were sent back to South Africa. They arrived at OR Tambo International Airport. They were then sent to the Lindela Repatriation Center. That's where they keep people who are awaiting deportation. They were then sent back to Nigeria.
A Nigerian Yoruba woman has been deported back to South Africa with her 3 boys. I know you'll be wondering, she's Nigerian, why is she deported back to South Africa? So she moved from Nigeria with her 3 boys to South Africa. And then in 2023, she made an asylum claim from South Africa. She said, according to her applications, that there is xenophobia and they've been traced on her and that of her boy's life. So she came into Northern Ireland, right? And then within this course, of course, you know, the asylum application is still ongoing and all that. There was a protest that happened, and unfortunately, her and her family were at the center of that protest, and the asylum claim was rejected. Then she and the 3 boys have to be deported back to South Africa. They deported her back to South Africa because that is where they came from. They used South African documents to apply and all that, which means that's where they are based. So they deported them back to South Africa. It still boils down to Nigeria, because if we have a working nation, I mean, this should have been avoided. But no, Nigeria is not even, there's not even plans of getting better. And if you know that you're on asylum, you're seeking asylum, why would you be the center of protest? I don't understand. Your asylum has not been granted, and there's a protest where you are, and you did not only participate in that protest, you were at the center of that protest. And her communities tried for her. The boys could have to write to their home office or whatever, that the boys were of good behavior, they are contributing good to the society. Their community people gathered and even protested for them and all that they should stay. But at the end of the day, they were still deported back to South Africa, back to the same country that they said they have made stress on her life and that of her boy's life. She has been deported back.
The Sierra Leonean High Court has sentenced a South African woman to 130 years for cocaine trafficking. And this comes after South Africans have been very vocal against other Africans in South Africa, calling them drug traffickers. But the High Court of Sierra Leone has sentenced a South African woman to 130 years for trafficking cocaine. Imagine that, 130 years. By the time she's out of prison, who knows what will have happened in South Africa? There will probably obviously be no immigrants left, and who knows? Who knows where this is going to happen? And do you know what? It's a sad state of affairs, a real sad state of affairs. But you know what? You can't accuse other people of being criminals whilst your own are being sentenced to 130 years, and that's a very serious crime.
Fumble. When a wise blogger sell always bring news to the people. High Court Judge Justice Andrew Johnson don't sentence 37 years old South African national to 130 years imprisonment after being found guilty of cocaine trafficking. Well, according to the evidence we then present before Justice Andrew Johnson, them be get for state say this woman them be get for arrest her at the Freetown International Airport na Lungi, where in the attempt for do a cocaine trafficking way amount of 365 pellets of cocaine, where approximately weight 5.3 kilogram. Well, during this interval of in-session na High Court, the accused were na Sandra Dennis be get for deny all allegation and be get for deny all of these allegations, but the court be get for finding guilty and then sentence him to 130 years imprisonment.
South Africans, sorry, my bad. South Africans. Come on, carry your sister. Carry her. Carry your sister and get away from here. They are taking our jobs. I can see the jobs that they are taking. I see it. Bye, South Africans. Oh, why do I keep doing this?
A South African citizen, Sandra Dennis, 37 years old, has been sentenced to 130 years in prison in Freetown, Sierra Leone. She was caught when she arrived at Sierra Leone International Airport with about 5.4 kilo of cocaine. She was arrested by the narcotic police in Sierra Leone. Upon her arrival, she was questioned and searched. In her possession was 5.4 kilo worth of cocaine was found in her. She was prosecuted by the prosecution department in Sierra Leone, and she was found guilty by the judge. She was given 130 years in prison, which she would serve concurrently, which means she would be serving 30 years imprisonment. Sandra Dennis, who is 37, will be coming out from prison at the age of 67. See, what a tragic story for this lady. 67, her entire life is already gone. She has lived her adult life in prison. By the time she comes out, she will be a pensioner. Her life is gone. You see, this is a terrible incident. I see, 5.4 kilogram of cocaine. What is the value? What is the market value of that volume for her to be given such a harsh sentence? I think the Sierra Leone government is not playing at all to give somebody 130 years in prison. The judge said she would serve her time right from the day she has been detained by the police. So looking at the entire sentence given to her, she will be serving only 30 years in prison. I think this is a tragedy for her, her family, and a nation. You see, this is a South African citizen. South Africans will tell you that foreigners are committing crime in their country. Foreigners are selling drugs in their country. This is one of yours. We've said it so many times that the majority of people who commit crime in South Africa are South African citizens themselves, but they want to blame foreigners for it. They do not want to hold themselves accountable. South Africa, this is one of you. We have seen several South African citizens being caught in several countries around the world for trafficking substance. Example, cocaine in Dubai, in Thailand, in so many countries around the world where South African citizens, especially their females, have been caught trafficking narcotics. So this lady, I think it's a tragic story. I don't know how much she's going to make from that product that she decided to get to lose 30 years of her life in prison. You know, the prison in Sierra Leone is not like the one she has in South Africa. She will be bearing the consequences. By the time she's out, I don't think she'll be ready to commit crime again, because Sierra Leone prison is not going to be a child's play for her. She will understand what prison is, not like the one she has in South Africa. So, nevertheless, a South African citizen has been sentenced to 30 years in prison in Sierra Leone. Adinkra Group, 37 years old. Thank you.
I see this report yesterday which say South Africa woman sentenced to 130 years for cocaine trafficking in Sierra Leone by High Court. This South Africa woman, they be arrested at Lunge International Airport to see a large consignment of white powder, which are really happy in the way how the case goes.
Have you ever been at a robot?
And this guy says, I can do...
guys say, he's got a board that says, I can do this, 500.
He's an electrician, he's a plumber.
And then you say, how many weeks do you need? He said, no, all today. You're not gonna give. You're gonna give.
But also we're not complaining
and then
about...
Why must I be at fault as a South African? Because think about it. South Africans aren't people who are... The general population of South Africans aren't wealthy. Only 8% of South Africans do well. And only 3% are like super rich. And then 1% is like, yeah, I can't even touch them. But the general population gets by. So when I make a decision to employ somebody who's only charging me $800 to do the garden for the month, it's from a survival point of view. So if there's a home executive who's going to charge me 8,500 rand to clean my house and look after my kids every month, versus someone who'll do it for 4 grand and who's reliable.
But now...
And always there.
How do you feel being that person?
And I know they can't go anywhere because they don't have papers. They are safe here.
Listen, so how do you feel? How do you feel as a human being taking advantage of?
It's not taking advantage.
It's not taking advantage because it's helping both of us.
Advantage. We're helping each other here. If taking advantage is if I know I'm capable of paying you 10,000 rand a month, but I exploit you and I go, I only have 2. That's taking advantage. But if I can only afford 2, and I say to you, my sister, I can't. I don't need a person who does this. I can only afford 2 grand a month. And she goes, that's fine. Then I'll take that person on. And guess what? When I get an increase at work, I'll increase her salary. I'll say, yo, I got promoted at work. I can now pay you 3 a month or 4 a month. And that's how you build a relationship with somebody, bruh. With South Africans aren't deliberately trying to exploit. Hey, I want a foreigner for cheap. I want a foreigner. It's not like that, bruh. I know that's how you're placing it in your mind, but we do not work like that. Sometimes people come and negotiate with you. I can do this at this cost. You learn the hard way. Pete, till today, near plek om te gefind.
But sometimes we take advantage because on public holidays, we're like, it's not your public holiday. Wait for Mugabe Day. That's what we do. We do that sometimes. So we are like, I know it's not intentional, bro, but you are still doing it.
Yeah, I got into trouble for asking that the last time.
But you know what I'm saying?
No, I got into trouble. I was like,
You asked the question.
Youth Day. It's Youth Day.
It's got nothing to do with you. For you, it's Tuesday. You better be here.
Oh no.
You better show up.
Shouted it.
It's at the border between Zimbabwe and South Africa. Did you know that Zimbabwe is now the biggest supplier of steel? A SADC. You know, South African trucks used to come back empty from Zimbabwe, but now they're coming back with steel. The same company that laid off more than 5,000 South Africans has reopened their doors in Zimbabwe. And now Zimbabwe is the biggest supplier of steel. Because of South African mistakes, Zimbabwe is becoming richer and richer. Not only Zimbabwe, by the way. The Durban port used to be the most productive port in Africa. But I can tell you now, the Tanzanian port in Dar es Salaam is the most productive port in Africa. Because of the slave queen, because of Phakela Bathakathi, because of Ngizwe Mchunu. Bekani manje. Now my results la. Niyabo? Companies see no future in South Africa. They don't see any security in South Africa. So now they're opening their doors in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe is now supplying us with steel. There's more than 50 trucks in there. And in South Africa, the steel is in Zimbabwe. It used to be South African steel. Your brothers today are unemployed, and Zimbabweans are employed because of it, tribalism xenophobia ne-afrophobia. Sithi phansi madoda. Niyabona ama-truck? Gcwele istili la. Yasbo? Istili sodwa lesi. Yasbo? Istili sodwa lesi. Still sort. More than 50 trucks bafethu la ilayinini aphethe steel. Yeah. I also vela ku TikTok. Yakho ngena. Izo.
Ngize ngakuthola baba.
Right ngena.
Right skipper.
Sure.
Lokuhamba usintarisha la.
The psychosis of South Africa is insane. So now they're saying the South African women who are married to foreign men must leave the country. I don't think they understand how these things work. They're saying the women of South Africa who are married to foreign men must leave the country. How can you deport your own women? These people are cruel and callous. And I know those women who are married to foreigners are not safe because these mobs see no reason or rationale of what they're saying or what they're talking about. They have not thought this through. And I guess this is the value of education, understanding that people in a country can marry whoever they want. But now they're saying any South African woman who is married to a foreign man must leave the country. Is this really what Jacinta intended? Jacinta herself said that if she had been married or was going out with a South African man, she would cheat on him with a Nigerian man because she valued Nigerian men more. This is insane.
So when you watch the first story that I gave you, the woman that was speaking clearly, her accent is not South African. So I'm suspecting that probably the people that were deported back to South Africa, some may be South Africans, but for this particular woman and her kids, she is clearly a Nigerian. She is clearly a Nigerian, and I'm sure she's holding a South African passport. That is why she was deported back to South Africa. So imagine what is currently happening in South Africa and she being deported back to South Africa and she being a Nigerian. I think the South African authorities can even take the passport from her, but because she has kids, this is going to be a bit, I don't know. I hope she can get herself together and probably travel back to Nigeria, because South Africa right now does not also want foreigners. And also, this Sierra Leone story about the South African that has been arrested with hard substance and has been jailed 130 years. I don't know how true this particular story is. That is my issue with this story, because I searched. I've actually been to Sierra Leone before, and I've searched trying to get authentic sources who are sharing this particular story, but I did not get none. All the people that I saw are just normal TikTokers and bloggers just sharing this particular story. So I don't know how authentic it is. Probably people are just doing this because South Africa now has that bad name and bad reputation, and people are just fueling that. But I don't think it's the right thing to do. So I rest my case. If you are from Sierra Leone and you know perfectly that this story is true, let us know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.